Good morning, Paul. Today is Wednesday, August 9th, and here's the heads-up briefing for today. In Australasia and the Pacific Islands, we covered 5 issues. In North Asia, 6 issues. In Southeast Asia, 20 issues, along with 22 issues in South Asia and the major developments in the EMEA region.
Okay, excellent. Now, Bassel, you're going to be doing this for a few more days. More days now gone from his projects in India. He's in Malaysia. He's meeting me in Thailand on Tuesday, and we're both heading to Indonesia on Thursday. So just bear with doing the briefs for a few more days, okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
Noted, Paul. Starting off with Australasia and the Pacific Islands. In Australia, members of the Gomeroi community in Coonabarabran Town, New South Wales, will carry out a rally on August 12th to protest Santos' plan to drill 850 gas wells in the Pilliga forest.
Yeah, look, this is really interesting. Obviously, that's a very sensitive area, both for the Indigenous communities and the environment. Santos is very good at that top-end politics, but it doesn't always get that land-based community affairs. They've got issues they struggle with in PNG. Now this, I actually come from that area. It's called the Central West, New South Wales, and it's very interesting to see how these corporate guys actually manage issues where they actually believe they've got a really good understanding of it. But often they have teams that have an academic understanding of it. They don't have the necessary networks and influence they need. Sad to watch such a credible company acting in a manner that's probably going to lead to struggles both in PNG, in its resources in Canada, and also in Australia. They're having challenges accepting that not all knowledge is suits in corporate offices. And hopefully they'll mature as they move forward in how they manage risk, and they'll understand risk is not an administrative risk based on laptops. Go ahead. Thank you.
In Papua New Guinea, the Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pila Niniging yesterday announced that the defense cooperation agreement between PNG and the US will be tabled in Parliament.
Okay, that is actually a good progress, given the amount of unheralded weapons going through transient through PNG, as well as drugs and all kinds of things. Obviously, getting into bed with America can be a double-edged weapon, but I think in this particular case, anything that helps stitch up some security capacity in PNG is not only good for PNG, but also for Australia, that doesn't need the continuing costs and the continuing instability north. Thank you.
In New Zealand, Prime Minister Chris Hipkins announced that the government has partnered with BlackRock for a new climate investment fund. The fund is set to cost at around $1.2 billion.
Yeah, well, one has to ask the questions on the processes and protocols that are being used there, because that's been rushed through very quickly. BlackRock and the New Zealand government don't normally move that quick, so one would have to actually question the rigidity. We're seeing in Australia massive issues with over familiarity between government and private entities. This is no exception, and it's sad to see how diminished the government capacities for ethical, transparent contracts in Australia and New Zealand. Once a shining light of doing democracy and governance well, both have lost a lot of credibility recently, particularly Australia. Thank you.
In Japan, authorities cancelled numerous flights and advised over 60,000 households to evacuate in southern regions due to Typhoon Kanun's impending impact.
Okay, thanks.
Moving over to Southeast Asia, in Thailand, the Pheu Thai Party is expected to announce 5 more coalition partners today, including the Prachachat Party, the Thai Liberal Party, the Pheu Thai Ram Phalang Party, New Society Party, and Thong Thin Party.
Look, it's really interesting. The Pheu Thai Party, it's not Pheu Mate, it's Pheu Thai Party, but pronounced with a P. The Pheu Thai Party is actually trying to get a coalition now. They've got a history of governing, so it'll be very popular with organisations like the tourism, even the manufacturing sector, but all of the service sector, indeed, not just tourism. Do we have any information on when the next vote in Parliament for a PM will occur or not?
Not yet, Paul. They have not yet agreed on a date.
Thank you.
In the Philippines, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri called for the cessation of projects awarded to Chinese-owned companies, and the boycott of Chinese products to protest the harassment of the Philippine Coast Guard and fishermen within Philippines territory.
Okay, thank you.
Moving over to South Asia, in India, the United Naga Council will hold rallies in Chandel, Tamenglong, Senapati, and Ukhrul districts in Manipur today from 10 a.m. local time.
Thank you.
In Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which is the BNP, announced that it will hold a protest rally in Dhaka on August 11th.
Great, thanks.
Moving over to the EMEA region, with the ongoing tensions between NATO and Belarus, countries neighboring Belarus will increase military deployment at the border. Polish authorities announced that they will deploy an additional force of 1,000 troops to the border area with Belarus. Also, Latvia beefed up security across its eastern border with Belarus.
Okay, thank you.
In Niger, the Economic Community of West African States yesterday said diplomacy is the most ideal approach to resolve the crisis in Niger. The announcement came after the Niger military authorities rejected a delegation from ECOWAS, the African Union, and the United Nations from entering Niger.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I'm saying, yeah, so tomorrow I'd like Bhargav on the call. I'd like to discuss the latest in Pakistan. Also, now, can you give me an update? Is there still no more news on the captured pilot Mertens, and roughly how long has he been apprehended for now?
So, Paul, there is still no news about the New Zealand pilot in Papua Indonesia. He was kidnapped around February 7th. So it's been around 6 months, around 5 to 6 months right now.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's a good Indonesian speaker. He will naturally develop a rapport with a couple of guys within the TPNPB that speak Indonesian well. I don't think it's in their best interest to execute him. However, there will be a radical element in there that is just going to say, if we don't, they'll never take us seriously again. Flip side of that is no one's ever taken the TPNPB seriously except the Indonesian military and police that have been able to do nothing about a very limited force. And they continue to build sympathy and empathy, and people that are willing to work along with the TPNPB, both logistically and militarily, by the archaic and discriminatory manner that they treat most of Papua and Papuans. Thanks very much, Bassel.
Thank you, Paul.